this computer. There we go. Okay. So good morning, everyone. My name is Ariel Rokem. I'm a data scientist at the University of Washington eScience Institute in Seattle and a co-PI of the West Big Data Innovation Hub. I'll just say a few words about the eScience Institute and my role. The eScience serves as the nexus for data science activities at the University of Washington. That means that we collaborate with research in many different fields and departments to promote data-driven discovery. And we work with researchers to promote various tools and practices that facilitate open and reproducible research across different fields. My own research and development work focuses on software and analysis tools for understanding of data from neuroscience experiments in particular, and other experiments that use biomedical imaging technologies. And as part of my work, I regularly teach workshops to students and researchers at the university. One example of that is that every quarter we hold a software carpentry workshop that I help teach and facilitate. So today's webinar will be about software and data carpentry. I'll explain that. I'll give you a bit of an overview of the organizations. I'll talk specifically about the instructor training that we do through software and data carpentry. I will refer to these two together as the Carpentries from now on. And I'll describe the training that we will have as part of our collaboration as the West Big Data Hub with the Carpentries that we will have here in Seattle in March, and how that collaboration is structured together with members of the community across the West. And then after I describe that and I describe the application process and how we see this going forward, I'll open this up to questions from all of you. So with that, let me tell you a little bit about the Carpentries. So as I mentioned, software and data carpentry are an organization. Together we refer to them as the Carpentries. The software carpentry was started by Greg Wilson, and initially this was a small operation that he ran in order to teach researchers about computing. And this organization has grown since into a fairly large organization that teaches researchers how to use computing technologies in their research and how to manage data, analyze data, and understand data that they have. I've been a software and data carpentry instructor since 2012. The main thing that the Carpentries do as an organization is that we teach two-day bootcamp style workshops that focus on tools and techniques for computational research. For example, we might teach a two-day workshop where we teach researchers, learners that participate in the workshop about the Unix shell. We might teach them how to do version control of their work with Git, and then we might teach them programming in the Python programming language. But the workshops are fairly modular. There are several different modules that you can mix and match as appropriate for the audience that you're teaching. At our university here, University of Washington, these workshops are tremendously popular. As I said, we do one of these every quarter, and we get run over with applications. Usually we run out of space within the first 2 days of opening registration, and we have waiting lists that exceed the capacity of the next workshop typically. So it's really very, very popular, and we believe that it's really, really useful for researchers in many different stages and in many different kinds of organizations. And for that reason, the West Big Data Hub has recently become a member organization of the Carpentries. And we're very happy to be able to offer instructor training for community members of the West Big Data Hub, so that you can take part in this instructor training and then offer workshops for members of your community, for your organization, members of different organizations within some part of your region. The instructor training itself is a 2-day workshop as well, and we will have this take place at UW here in Seattle at the eScience Institute, March 22nd, 23rd, 2018. This workshop has the following overall goals. it introduces participants to evidence-based best practices in teaching, teaches participants how to create positive environments for learners at workshops that you run, and provides a lot of opportunities for participants to practice and build teaching skills and learn about how you might practice and build teaching skills after the end of the workshops. A strong emphasis is put on integrating participants into the carpentry community. So the carpentry community is distributed worldwide, and we have a variety of mechanisms for staying in touch with each other and building a cohesive community of instructors. And we will talk in the workshop about how to become integrated into the carpentry community. And then finally, the workshop is focused on preparing participants to use the skills, the teaching skills that we teach in teaching carpentry workshops that you will run. Because we have only 2 days, there are some things that are beyond the scope of the instructor training. For example, we don't teach how to program in R or Python, or how to use Git, or any of the other topics that we teach in the regular carpentry workshops. We also don't teach more advanced kinds of topics like how you might create your own lessons from scratch. But you will have, after learning this, you'll have a good start on some of the principles behind how you might create lessons. And we'll point you in the right direction if you're inspired to learn more. And so this collaboration with the Carpentries organization allows us to, our membership in the Carpentries organization allows us to do this instructor training and then offer Carpentries workshops across the region. And we're allowed to have 6 different workshops through this membership at no additional cost to members of our community who will be running these workshops. So our goal in this workshop that we'll hold in Seattle in March is to train several different teams to then go and run these workshops all across the region throughout 2018. And our goal is to really have these workshops run by, I'd say, October 2018. We hope to have these 6 workshops run in different parts of the region by teams of instructors that will participate in the training that we're offering. So if you're interested in participating, what we would like you to do is we would like you to organize a small team of instructors at your organization, in whatever kind of organization that you're in, or in your region. So if there aren't other members, other members of your organization that are potential instructors, we'd like you to try to connect with people in your region to form a little team of people who would then run this kind of training. And we'll ask you to sign up as a team of instructors and sign up for the training through the form that we have up on our website. So there's a link to a form. We'll ask you to fill that in with details about the team that you're forming. Now, if you don't know others in your region that you think could be instructors, we're happy to help facilitate that. So the best thing to do is to email info@westbigdatahub.org and express your interest in forming a team. And we will try to facilitate the creation of teams in different parts of the region. We're really, really interested in offering this training to participants from all across the region, from different kinds of organizations, different kinds of backgrounds, and so on. So we're really interested in hearing in your application about what kind of organization you're in, where you are, and what kind of learners you expect to have in workshops that you run. So that was what I had to say about that, and I hope that was sufficient information to get you started on this process. I'm happy to open this up to questions. So if you have any questions, unmute yourself and launch into it.
Hi, this is Amber Sherman at Boise State. What kind of skill level do you need to have going in about data, working with data or software itself?
Yeah, usually the instructors in the Carpentries also come from a variety of different backgrounds. Usually we hope that the instructors have at least the knowledge of the things that they will teach. So it depends a little bit on what part of the curriculum you intend to teach. If you intend to teach something along the lines of the kind of workshop that I outlined that we do here, where you teach Unix shell, Git version control, and programming, we'd hope that you have that kind of background, at least that you know that you use version control in your work, that you use a programming language. It could be Python or R. That's sort of typically what we teach, and that you're able to teach those materials. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Are there other questions? I am not seeing any or hearing anything. I'll give you another couple of seconds.
Hi, this is Lepia from Hawaii. Just curious, so with regards to team size, I mean, you're saying 3 to 4. Is that, how strict is that? I mean, if it's a team of 2, for example, and are you expecting the whole team to be participating at this instructor training? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. So I'll tell you how the Carpentries do their workshops typically. Is in order to call a workshop a carpentry workshop, you have to have at least one certified instructor, at least one. So even if you manage to have one instructor that's certified and then several other instructors that aren't certified through our program, that's fine for running the Carpentries workshop. For the purpose of this particular training, yes, we're hoping there will be a small team. That's mostly because we think that it's very hard for one person to spin up one of these things where that hasn't existed before and teach it. It's a lot of work. It's just a lot of work to do. And so we want there to be a little bit of a cohesive little team. If you have one more person that you think can participate, that's good. So if you have only a team of 2, I'd encourage you to try to find others, but we're not going to necessarily stick to that particular 3 to 4. We do hope for larger teams, 3 to 4, just because we think it would be easier for you to actually set up the workshop then. And then to your question, whether everyone has to come to Seattle to participate, we'd really encourage that. If you think there's some situation where it's really hard for people to come, I should say the workshop and travel and participation in the workshop is also funded through the West Big Data Hub. So funding doesn't fall on the organizations. Actually, we're getting all of this through the West Big Data Hub and our funding from the National Science Foundation to do this. So that shouldn't be a constraint. I understand that there are other constraints as well. And if there are other constraints, I'd be interested to hear about them. Just help figure out something and just try to understand what the situation is specifically, so that we can take that into account when we review the applications. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Are there any other questions from anyone? Going once? Yes.
So it sounds like if the people who become instructors, so I already am an instructor, I'm trying to convince other people to go and get trained. So it sounds like if they come back and host a workshop, then that falls under the 6 workshops and we don't have to pay an additional fee?
That's right. I'll just explain to everyone on the call. Typically, when you run one of these workshops, if you are not a member, if your organization is not a member organization, running one of these workshops there's an administrative fee that costs, so it costs $2,500 to run one of these workshops at say a university or some organization. And through our membership as the West Big Data Hub, you're getting that as part of that. So we're allowed to run 6 workshops as part of our membership, and those will be run by you in your organization without the need for you to pay this additional fee. If it's a huge success and you manage to convince your organization to run more of those, you will have to probably pay the fee subsequently. But for this one workshop that you run through this partnership, then you won't have to pay it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. That's going to help convince people to go and get trained. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Okay, what other questions do people have at this point about any of this?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yes, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, this is Dr. Han Chen from Cal State, LA. I'm only access through the phone. For this particular March workshop, what kind of coding background you would recommend when I form the team for people to come?
Yeah, so instructors in the Carpentries community come from a very wide variety of different backgrounds, and it depends a little bit on what exactly you will want to then teach people. If you're teaching programming, we expect that the instructor has background in teaching enough to teach programs, right? Sorry, enough background in programming to teach programming. So it depends a little bit on the materials. It's very hard to just take the materials as they are. There are Carpentries materials. There's a full curriculum that the Carpentries develop. That's part of what's great about this organization. It's collaboratively team developed curriculum, but it's very hard to take that curriculum and teach it without knowing the material already. So what I'd recommend to do is to go and look at the materials that are available through the Carpentries website and see whether these materials are something that's well within your technical background.
That's great. That's very helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, what other questions do people have? Well, I'd encourage you to reach out to us if you have questions after this call is over, or if you're watching this from the recording that we're making right now, and you still have questions. I'd encourage you to get in touch with us through our various channels. You can go to westbigdatahub.org and find all the contact information for us, and really send us your questions. I'll remind you that the application deadline for this training is December 15th. And we will have answers back to you by January 10th to let you know that you can participate in the training. As I mentioned before, we're really interested in getting little teams in some regions. So if you're the only person in your organization in some part of the West that you think can teach these things, get in touch with us, and we'll try to connect you with other members of the community that are in your sort of local region. To form a team together. We're really hoping to get teams from a variety of different kinds of organizations, and we have contacts in various parts of the West with different kinds of organizations. So we're hoping to also help you find other potential partners in your part of the region. And with that, I will close for now. And like I said, feel free to get in touch. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.